Hello, this is Jamie Magritte. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay, let's get started. I'm using Early Espresso, Daffodil Delight, Mossy Meadow, and Sweet Sorbet ink. I'm using the Sending Smiles photopolymer stamp set and the Sending dies that coordinates with it. I'm also using my Stampin'Up. I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white, a scrap piece of white, a 1/2 inch by 5 1/2 inch piece of the Parakeet Party in Color Designer Series paper. This is 4 by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, the same paper, and I've just cut out the center just so I can save this for another project. That's just so I don't use up the whole sheet. And then I've got my card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, bring in this scrap piece, and this is a 1/4 sheet, but it doesn't have to be. And oops. Let's bring in the Stamparatus. I'm going to put my paper right in the corner. Let's use this one for this. I'm going to take the Daffodil Delight ink, and I'm going to ink up this whole stamp here. I'm going to make sure my paper's in the corner. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. Okay. And I'm going to bring in Sweet Sorbet. I need chamois or something to clean this stamp off. Make sure it's dry, not wet. And you'll notice there's one side of the ink pad that is really close to the edge. I'm going to use that edge. I'm just going to ink the bottom half of this stamp. Okay, now I'm going to bring in a sponge dauber. You could use your brush if you'd rather. And I'm going to ink that up. I'm just going to blur that line a little bit so that it's not quite so harsh. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp it down. That's the reason I'm using the Stamparatus, so I can stamp it twice, or more times if I need to. And there's that part, okay? I'm done with this color. Move this out of the way. And bring in the Daffodil Delight and the Early Espresso. And I'm going to stamp the flowers and some leaves to die cut out as well. And I found it was easier for me to stamp the center first because it's dark. So I'm going to stamp the center with Early Espresso, and then I'm going to line up the daisy part. See how it gets closer? I just found that easier. You can do it the other way as well, depending on just whatever's easiest for you. I need 2 flowers. And then I need 5 leaves out of mossy meadow. I think my ink pad needs re-inked. Extra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's 5 good ones. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the other piece, the 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece. And I'm going to take a card to say hello and early espresso ink. And I'm going to stamp this down here towards the bottom a little ways. If you want to wait till you cut things out so you can dry fit them, you can do that as well. I'm going to get my early espresso Stampin' Right marker. The reason I'm using this is because it's got a really fine tip. I'm going to do these little squiggly lines around the edge. Just dashy lines. A couple dots here and there, a couple lines here and there. And I do them squiggly on purpose because then it doesn't look like I messed up if I go squiggly on accident. Just all around the edge. I'm just staying about 1/16 of an inch away from the edge. Okay, just like that. Okay, put that aside. We're going to bring in our die cutting machine. And this will be too wide to fit through there. So let's cut these off. Do it in a couple different sections. And then my base plate, my scratchy cutting plate, and we're going to bring in the dies. I don't know if I can get them both on there at once. Maybe I can. I'll try. Alright, so I'm going to do the sending. Post-it note tape. Get it lined up where I want it. I'm going to just do one at a time because it's a little bit crowded. On my bigger machine I would have done several items at once. Okay, then I need the leaf. Put my other plate on top. And run that through. That's what we end up with. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the rest of these, and then I will be right back. Okay, I've got all those pieces. Now we can assemble this card. I'm going to start by adhering this piece to the front of my card. Don't need a lot of glue. It should be the same size as the front of the card. Okay, it's a little bit longer here, so I'm going to trim that off. Alright, this piece is going to get dimensionals on the back of it. Take those backs off. Center that up on the front of the card. It's going to fold this way instead of this way. Okay, I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this and these. So I'll put one on this one on this one. I think a regular one fits there. And then I'll use the little ones for the rest, or cut the big ones in half. Okay, let's take the backs off of these. Alright, this is going to get placed about here, centered in the middle of the card, above the stamped sentiment will be placed. One of these flowers is going to go up here. And one of them is going to go just below the G. Okay, then these will get glued in with liquid glue. Take one, put it here. A couple over here. And I want 2 down at the bottom. I don't have as much room here, so maybe I'll put it over here. Okay, so there's the card we just created together. And here's the one I did previously. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.